Screw it. I think we're just going to get started. Waiting on Sheth, but I figured you guys have waited long enough. So welcome to Unfiltered episode 27.
Okay, can I ask my question now?
Go ahead.
I don't remember if this was... I'm pretty sure this was all of the early Zelda games, but I might be wrong. But I feel like there were always two big bosses in the early Zelda games, right? The last one was always some form of Ganon, right? Ganon, Ganondorf, whatever, right? But before that, there was always like a priest dude that you had to fight. Who the fuck was that, and where did he go? Or was that only in one of the Zelda games? Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
The priest dude?
There was like a priest bishop guy or something.
Dude, I don't know what he's talking about. What do you guys know what he's talking about? Dude,
Does anybody know what I'm talking
your
about?
mic is apparently sounding weird. Are you using the same mic you were a second ago?
No, I'm using my fucking webcam mic. I haven't reinstalled my driver's yet. Stay fucking mad. The Grand Wizard?
Fucking
Sure, whatever.
Webcam mic? What the fuck, dude?
Agonimhim? Was he only in A Link to the Past? Yeah, this dude. Was he only in one game? Maybe he was only in one game.
Agonimhim? I don't even
Yeah,
remember
this guy.
him. I don't even
Ganon
remember.
describes him as his alter ego.
Alright, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Was he only ever in one game, or was he in multiple older games? I feel like I remember him in multiple older games. But maybe he was only in A Link to the Past.
I vaguely remember. Vaguely remember him. I think he was only in one game then, if I vaguely remember him.
Whatever, fuck you. Was that the one with the Light World and the Dark World? A Link to the Past. I think it was, right? It was Light World and Dark World.
Not Ocarina, but... Alright, so Sean, you back yet or no? You can't hear us,
No.
can you?
It's okay.
All good. So yeah, this is kind of, I guess, pre-show, real quick pre-show, but I didn't want you guys to wait any longer. Sorry about the late start. Crazy work stuff that comes up, which, crazily enough, it hasn't come up very often out of all these episodes I've done, but lately it's been kind of crazy, but...
Hey, while we wait for Sean, can you play that in the background, please? Thank you.
Oh, Jesus, I'm scared. What is this?
There's nothing to be scared about, man. Come
I'm gonna
on.
watch this. God, man, I'm gonna watch some of the damn things you've been watching.
It's not anything you watch. It's
Oh, here we go.
survival.
Okay. Am I gonna get sued by Nintendo here for anything?
I hope so. They're pretty fucking crazy when it comes to that shit.
What's up, Sean? You here?
Yep, I'm here again. I'm here now. Sorry about that. I'm still kind of working on something, so I'll try and be here the whole time. But
Okay.
I might need like 5 minutes or so more.
Okay. Well, anyways, we're just listening to some Zelda music because Steven was
Very
wanting
nice.
me to play that in the background. Jeez. But anyways, guys, welcome to the show. As you can see, our guest tonight is Mr. Liquid Sheth, who had some really cool news to tell the community this week. So I figured it'd be great to have Sean back on the show and maybe give us a little bit more in-depth details as to the news. But yeah, so today we're going to be talking about just Steven getting to GM. Oh my god, crazy, right? And then we'll talk about his latest blog, all about depression, and then we'll end it off with BlizzCon
Holy
WCS
shit.
talk.
Hey, can you link like a topic list? What the fuck? Don't we normally get those?
Topic list, come on, dude. I fucking linked you to the Reddit thread already,
Right.
man.
Oh, I got it. Never mind. Just kidding.
Oh my god, dude,
Go ahead.
this guy.
My bad. Let's
But yeah, so post your questions in the Reddit thread, which keeps getting filtered out because I keep leaving the dang link shortener inside of it. So, but here's the link anyways, guys. Folks in Reddit won't be able to see it, but you guys will be able to see it, and you guys will be able to type in your questions today. But, all right, guys, but let's start off with Steven, you getting to GM, and I was watching you and Desro.
Yeah.
Kind of that session, and then I just missed the moment that you made it to GM.
That's
So how do you feel, man? How do you feel being back in the...
I hope I get refeatured on Team Liquid under the player section. I'm really excited about that.
Oh man, guess who got featured? Guess who's featured now under Hearthstone?
Avalo? Oh wait, ChanManV?
That's right.
Oh,
And never made it in SE2, but we've made it in Hearthstone.
there you go, dude.
Big heart. But okay, so what next, man? What next for you in StarCraft 2? I know a GM was a big thing that you were trying to get to. So
Who the fuck said that? It was just a fucking ladder rank. GM on NA. What the fuck does that mean?
yeah,
man?
whatever.
No way.
You
This
know,
this
you
has
know,
serious.
You know it means something.
Gotta qualify for that Premier League. That's the next step, right?
Premier, yeah, fuck Challenger, man. Just fucking
Challenger,
Premier
whatever.
League.
Waiting for that region lock to be announced. that apparently everybody thinks I have insider information on.
Oh man, Steven having insider info on that would be pretty funny. Actually, that would be pretty funny. Sean, how about you, man? Good news this week, I hear, with your latest blog on Facebook, and I know you talked to me and Steven about it like a few weeks ago that the doctors potentially had an explanation for all this, but you went into more details for the Facebook and for the community. But I was wondering if you could kind of sum it up again, maybe give us some more insight into it all.
Sure, not a problem. So the basic idea is I had carpal tunnel a little bit, cubital tunnel, which is like an elbow thing, and something called trigger finger, which messes with these fingers. For the trigger finger, that's just from clicking all day, whatever. You get a cortisone shot, and wear splints, and that should fix itself, hopefully. The carpal tunnel thing never will fully go away or whatever, but if you wear splints, I have them right here. I can even show you them. These little things.
Okay.
Just put them on like this. Flip, 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 flip.
Okay.
And like this, you just kind of sleep with that on. Play if you're ever going to do anything with that on. And, it's supposedly going to help my carpal tunnel. And then the cubital tunnel thing is just don't put any pressure on this nerve here. So I just don't have any armrest chairs to put anything there. I try not to rest on my arms or anything.
Yeah.
And that should get better within 3 to 6 months. I'm hoping more towards the 3 months part. And then I should be good to go again.
Awesome. So one doctor basically ended up diagnosing all those things, or was it a combination of doctors coming up? Because for a long time I know you went to several hand specialists and they couldn't figure it out, right?
Yeah, I actually went to Dr. Kagan, which is he actually did leg surgeries for me whenever I tore my ACL playing football. So I know he's a good doctor for doing that, and that that's great. But he was coming up with some crazy ideas to do for my hands, like blood tests and I don't know, just really weird stuff to me, like oxygen. Anyway, so we went to the different
chambers
one.
And shit. Oh
the other one was a specialist too, and he cost a ton of money. He was off my insurance plan, and I literally went there, waited 2 hours to see him. This very prestigious doctor. I'm it hurts here, it just hurts all these places. And he's like, all right, I got no idea what that is. I'll talk to you later. And then he just leaves. And I'm like, best $500 I ever spent on that
God.
Guy.
Wow.
What an asshole, man.
It should be a sham.
You're not part of the StarCraft 2 Grandmaster Health Insurance Club or whatever?
I lost it a little bit before this. And then this new guy, I went back to Kagan a few times and pestered him, no avail. And then this guy, though, he actually seemed like he knew what he was doing. He did this one test, anyone can do it. If you just kind of flex your arm and kind of open your hand like this or whatever, and just flex it, hold it for 20 seconds or whatever. And if you feel any pins and needles on these fingers here from doing this, then that's cubital tunnel, or at least that's a sign of it. So if you want to do that test yourself, you're welcome to kind of figure out if you have it too.
Okay, so that's great that you have it diagnosed. And at this point, how much time do you think you'll get to the point where you can play competitively? Because I know you're trying to play some right now.
Yeah. I've been playing a little bit. I'm trying to keep it much shorter to maybe 5 games maximum a day. And that's on the max, 1 or 2 average maybe. For now, to see where it goes. I'm hoping to kind of I'd love in a month and a half or so to be actually back playing a bit more and maybe be competitive. That's kind of my goal.
Really?
Because that coincides when my school ends, and then I can decide do I want to keep going with school, which I find or do I want to try and do StarCraft, which is really enjoyable. And then I'll kind of make my decision based on how my hands are doing in a month and a half from now.
So how has playing been? Have you feeling rusty, or it's just it's just riding a bike, it's all back?
It's just like riding a bike.
Really?
I was taking out GMs.
Taking out Steven?
I don't know. Not Steven.
Yeah,
not that GM.
Fuck?
That's sacred. I'm sorry.
Chan, you need to check your tone, dude. I don't like that attitude. I'll have to get some Hearthstone and go bust your ass a few times to keep you in check there if you keep that shit up.
No, but that's great news, Sean, man. It's man, we definitely, I think, you're one of the favorites in the NA NA scene, and having you back, I think will be amazing, and we could definitely use as many as we can get. Many NAers back.
Steven, like one of these nights, I'll challenge you to like a few games, drinking style. Like, so we got to be drinking while we play.
Oh boy.
Drinking style, wow.
Because then my hands won't hurt at all, right? And it can be equal footing.
Oh, okay. Then
So
like a little
challenge
drunk
sent to
ZVZ.
you.
Oh man.
Just like old times, right, buddy?
Sure.
Listen to this guy. Okay, well, that's great news. Let's see. Next up, why don't we talk a little bit about BlizzCon and WCS before we get into the depressing shit. Okay, BlizzCon WCS. So the Naniwa Revival 16th spot playoff kind of thing they did today was about 3 hours ago. Did you guys watch it at all?
I heard from Destro what happened.
Yeah. Well, did you guys, the viewers, watch it? Please tell me you guys at least watched it, right? Well, I mean,
did you watch it, ChanManV?
Yeah, I watched it. Spoilers, guys, spoilers. If you don't read Reddit already, Naniwa ended up winning it, and it was, I don't know. I kind of expected it, just because if you give Naniwa that much time just to play against one person, he's gonna end up doing really well. So, we will see a foreigner at BlizzCon this weekend, which is going to be, I think is a pretty big deal, because it would be a shame not to see any foreigners at the final event of the year, the grand finals. So Naniwa, hopefully he will do pretty well, and I think the viewership might depend. I guess the success of the viewership might depend on how well he does too. Given it's going to be 2x what it would probably be without him in it.
Fuck.
Are you guys excited for BlizzCon?
I'm excited for BlizzCon.
I know, yeah, I'm sure you're excited for BlizzCon.
Too.
Who do you think is going to win?
Oh. Destiny, who do you think?
What?
I have no idea. Anyone's?
Shit.
What do you think? Who else is going? I haven't even seen the full list of people.
Come on, you haven't seen the
Probably
list.
not anyone.
God.
I know there's only 2 Zergzergs, so I don't give a fuck. That's how I feel, you know?
Wow, but Sulky's there. Sulky's like number 1, like number 2 maybe. He's really good.
Sulky was crushing tosses up until Deer for some reason.
Did you hear the quote from Sulky from after last WCS season?
Deer shattered his confidence and he doesn't feel like he can play professionally anymore. That's what I heard.
I heard it was like, I'm really glad I could take out Trap, Oz, and Biol so Naniwa could have a chance to be at BlizzCon. And then once I found out that he was there, I just let Deer 4-0 me because at least Naniwa got into it.
Oh.
It was just like a Reddit quote, but I don't think it was real. But it was funny.
Yeah, I don't think that was too real here. So let's see the brackets. I haven't actually looked at the brackets until now. So it looks like, Sulky and Naniwa you were mentioning. And then Bomber MMA. That should be pretty interesting. I haven't seen Bomber in a while now. But Bomber seems to always come up big in big events here. Hero SOS, Polto.
Has he? I thought, has Bomber done anything recently?
That's typical Bomber, right? He hasn't done much for a while, and then all of a sudden, boom, he breaks out and has like a huge-ass win. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up doing something cool here, even though MMA has been playing really great. Dear Tasia, that should be interesting. Jaedong MVP. MVP too, man. Having this much time to prepare since he got knocked out so early, right, in Season 3. He's had a ton of time to prep for this tournament, so I'm very curious to see how he does too. Maru MC, Innovation Duck. Alright, pretty cool. I don't know. Viewers, what do you think? Who do you think is going to do well here? Who are your picks to be winner here? Let's see what everybody's saying here. I have to switch over. MVP, Polt. Alright. A Korean. Yeah, that's a good bet. D-Mill. Thanks for that.
Is Naniwa the only foreigner here?
What?
Yeah.
Naniwa's the only foreigner here.
Right off the bat.
Naniwa's the only foreigner.
His bracket looks so difficult. Like, both brackets are
Naniwa, it seems like Naniwa's PVZ is the exact same as Idra's ZVP. Does anybody ever get that feeling?
What?
Where he picks, like, he has this, like, really stubborn style and he, like, never fucking changes. Although I guess that's not true because Naniwa finally embraced his inner ZVP today and raped the shit using bullshit plays and all ones against fucking the other
Yeah,
poor
that's
Zerg
a weird.
fool.
I don't know. I don't agree with that.
You've missed,
I think
you've missed some of his like 2-gates against Beal, like 2-gate proxies and crazy stuff.
Oh, maybe I did. I don't know. I've got this really bad impression of anyone stuck in my head where he has these really stubborn like macro builds that he will only ever do in a series versus Zergs, and he literally will only do one build the entire time.
Dude, you didn't do that today. You should have watched the games today, man.
That's good. That's
They were
good.
so much like that. No, I don't think he's like that. I think he comes into a tournament with some type of style that he pretty much practiced leading up to it, and then that style he's going to stick to whatever that is during the tournament. But it's generally has a little nuance to it. Like his preparation is decent. I mean, generally it's just one particular style, but he's pretty good at a lot of things at this point, right? But
I hope he does good, so like there's some storyline for it. I mean, there'll be some storyline either way, but this is like the big storyline, right?
If he beats Soulkey, that would be huge, man.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Their numbers will just peak in Naniwa games. And
Yeah,
can drop
I mean, if he can get back Soulkey,
races.
I mean, Bomber MMA, I mean, I could see him doing well against one of them. And then he doesn't have the Zerg the rest of the way, right? Jaedong's in the other bracket, but I guess he doesn't really struggle that much against Zerg. Do Protoss struggle at all against Zerg right now?
Some, yeah.
Some, yeah.
Only
Okay,
two
well,
Zergs.
anyways, BlizzCon's gonna be Sean, you're not gonna be there, are you? Are you gonna be at BlizzCon? Just hanging out?
It's still kind of up in the air, but probably not.
Okay.
Well, do you have a ticket yet? Can you go now? What the fuck?
It's a long story.
It's a long story.
Very long story.
Okay. Well, I will be there, and at some point, I will be giving out some of those WCS collector cards, and I think they come 5 in a pack. So you're gonna have to come find me to get some of those packs from me. But I wanted to do a contest where it's just the first person who like completes the set, I'll have some kind of fun prize for you guys. But I'll give you some more details about it later. But hopefully that'll be fun. It'll be my first BlizzCon too, so I'm looking forward to just kind of taking in everything. And Steven, you been to a BlizzCon?
No, what the fuck? Oh, have I been to a BlizzCon, or am I doing BlizzCon? Oh,
No,
yeah, I've been to one before in the past.
Okay, cool. Any advice for a first timer?
I don't know. I hate those events, dude. I'm not a good person to have.
You hate meeting those fans, don't
I
you?
hate everything. I just end up standing in a line of signing shit for like 2 hours. That's all I do, because I'm so
Just
famous.
You're
try all the new stuff. Like, they had a bunch of really cool random things that you could try at the last one.
Oh, yeah.
And then maybe they'll have, like, a WoW expansion or a D3 expansion.
Oh, yeah. The one that I went to was really cool because we all kept going through lines to play Heart of the Swarm. They would only let you play like one game or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay. I'm going to try out the new HOTS. Heroes of the Storm. That should be interesting to try out. But otherwise, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be probably taking off Thursday, and so those of you looking forward to the other shows I do, we're not going to have any of them this week in preparation for all that stuff. But okay, I think that's it.
Are you going to live stream from BlizzCon, ChanMan? That's the real question.
What? Am I going to what?
You're going to live stream from BlizzCon? That's
Live
the real
stream?
question.
No, I'm not going to live stream from BlizzCon.
Where's your 4G dude?
There was some plans to do something live in the community section, but because of the logistics of just setting up all the production stuff, just Blizzard from a Blizzard standpoint, we decided not to do it. But I think next year they'll probably end up doing it. The community section is a new thing this year, so they weren't quite ready to do something sophisticated. So next year, I think a bunch of community folks will be streaming some live shows from there. We were supposed to do Wednesday Night Sprites. That was the original plan, but there's no way in hell they'd let us do this show there. But
you don't think so?
Oh my god, that would be so amazing if they let us fucking do Unfiltered there. I would laugh so hard. But anyways, yeah, BlizzCon, guys, check it out. It's going to be big. This is the event for StarCraft 2, so definitely support it, watch it, all that good stuff, guys. All right, next up, we got your latest blog, Steven. And I was kind of surprised, like out of nowhere, like you blogged about just
there was a guy in my chat that said he'd subscribe if I wrote a blog for him, and I said, okay, I'll write one if you subscribe to me. And he did. I didn't actually.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So he would subscribe if you blogged about depression or how to deal with it.
He said something in chat. It was like, Destiny, why should I subscribe to you? I was like, I'll write a blog if you do it. And he was like, okay. And he actually did it. I didn't think he would. That's pretty funny.
All right, so
But,
this is the first thing that came to your mind whenever you had to write a blog.
yeah, I've always got other things spinning around my head that I'm thinking about.
Okay, cool. But all right, let's talk about depression. I mean, I think depression, happens to a lot of people, and I think some players fall into it too. Right? It's a pretty hard life being a pro gamer.
Oh, definitely.
So yeah, talk to us a little bit about this. I mean, I read through it. Hopefully, you guys on that are watching can read through it too. It's blog.destiny.gg, and a lot of it has to do with just finding something that you can, I guess, focus on or put your focus on that will kind of help you get past these kind of things. But why don't you elaborate, Steven? Like, talk about it.
I think you summed it up pretty well.
Come on, dude. All right. What a topic, man.
Fuck, dude. I woke up so late today. I'm really out of it. So basically, there are two things. Okay, hold on. First of all, there are two things. It's very important to understand, okay? There are 1,381 people in here, okay? And 1,250 of them have the wrong idea, okay? So let me set something straight right now, okay? The act of feeling depressed and the act of, or in the actual physical condition that is depression are two very, very, very different things that overlap a little bit, but they can be very different things, right? A lot of people don't understand that. When you talk about something like clinical depression, a lot of people think that just means that you're depressed, Those are very different things. I always think it's really funny how psychologists who are in charge of studying like the behavior of people and whatnot can be so fucking stupid and name clinical conditions after words that we already have definitions for, because it's a really bad idea. But anyway, so I'm sorry, I just want to say that right now. That being said, what my stuff was targeted at was more at people who are feeling depressed or who are down or whatever because of whatever bullshit in life. And not like if you have like clinical depression, you shouldn't be reading blogs on the internet to figure out how to deal with it. You should definitely talk to a trained person. Yeah, I start the beginning thing off with that, right?
Yep, you do.
I want to make that distinction is really fucking important, because people who have clinical depression cannot just get over it, and no amount of just talking to them is going to make them feel better or move them on from that. Clinical depression doesn't work like that. It's not rational, it's not logical, it's not reasonable, it's not something you can just get over ever, right? Okay.
Yep.
All right, sorry, okay. I need to start that off.
Sean sounds like he wants to say something there.
What?
Do you think regular? I don't think regular depression is like that logical either, though. I understand there's a big difference, but
no, but regular depression is something that you can overcome. I don't want to say easily. Obviously, every person is different, but regular depression. Okay, fuck. I don't have clinical depression. Okay, so like my expression, this might be a little bit biased, but regular depression is like my mom died and my dad died on the same day, and the next day I got fired from my job, and like I feel fucking terrible, and my life is in the shitter, and like everything just feels fucked up, right? That's like you're depressed, like, and shit is really bad. Clinical depression is like, I just got a raise at my new job, I got accepted to the university I like, and I've got a girlfriend that loves me, and I feel fucking miserable all the time, and I can't enjoy anything. And I always feel bad, and it doesn't matter how nice the people are around me or what kind of good stuff I have, I just always feel like shit. And nothing that I can do, and no way that I can think will ever make it so that I can like anything that I'm doing ever, because I always feel terrible. That's clinical depression, right? Like, just being depressed can... Like, there are a lot of factors that go into that and things in life that can affect that, but like clinical depression is something that will loom over you for your entire fucking life unless you get like professional help to deal with it, Like, clinical depression has to do with like actual fucked up things with whatever neurochemicals in your brain that constantly... It's like the way that if you read anybody that describes to you what it's like being clinically depressed, it's literally like having this terrible fucking affliction that follows you around everywhere you go. And it's not something that only comes and affects you when you're down. It's always there. It's something that's ever present even in social situations where you're having fun, where everything is going good for you, even when you get good news and great news and everything is going your way. It's something that is constantly always hanging over you and making you feel like shit,
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
No, that's good. Don't be sorry. That was a good explanation.
No. I'm not trying to... I wasn't trying to like tell anybody out. I just think that's a really important distinction to make, because a lot of people don't understand the difference between clinical depression and just being depressed. Like, they're two very, 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 very different things. And it's really annoying on the internet when people when people act like clinical depression is something that you can just get over, because it doesn't work like that, know?
Yeah.
So okay, there we
All right,
go.
so
All right.
so we're talking
Sorry.
about dealing with just being depressed, I guess.
Yeah. So I just want to make that distinction because my thing is just for being depressed, and it might help for people who have clinical depression to follow this advice too. I'm not actually sure. Like I said, I've never had clinical depression, and I don't know how trained psychologists approach or treat those issues. So whatever. Basically, so growing up, one of the things that I found that a lot of people tend to do, especially people who were dealing with depression in high school, and when I say dealing with depression from here on out, I'm just talking about depression, not clinical depression, right?
Okay.
It is they would always make the mistake of, you find these people who are always feeling good or happy, but only when they're surrounded by other people who are constantly affirming them, you know? You get these people who can deal with some things in life, and every time they've got these issues come up, anytime they have an issue that comes up that they can't necessarily deal with, wow, fuck you, ChanManV.
Maybe he's depressed, man. Like, wow, Destiny.
Maybe work-related? Okay, we're talking to the audience now, whatever. So anytime people have these issues where they're depressed, the only way that they can get over them is by looking towards friends or family, or they get support, blah, 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 blah. And to some extent, that works, right? Having that system of support set up tends to work for those people. But the problem is, as soon as they're removed from those systems of support, they get completely fucked in life. And I'm talking about that person who's finally started working a real job. And you can always spot those people who are having issues with coworkers and they don't really have any fucking idea what to do because they're used to being able to just complain to like a teacher or a parent or a friend and everything will kind of fix itself like that. Or the person who's left for college for the first time in their life and they're not surrounded by that close support group of friends, you know, where they seem a little bit lost and they don't have that constant affirmation and they, you know, they haven't really like set up a way to be self-reliant in regards to, you know, like policing their emotions, you know. And one thing that I've always found, and I kind of got lucky because of my upbringing and whatnot, you know, my parents were always really busy with work, so I always had to be kind of self-reliant. One thing that I found was it was really nice, and the people that seem to do the best are people that have some kind of hobby or art or craft that they can sink a ton of time into that will never not be a possibility to do, you know? So like for a personal example, I would use music for me. For other people it's drawing, for other people it's watching movies or video games or whatever.
Yeah, it's gaming, yeah.
Yeah, basically the idea is anytime you're having trouble or whatever, or you feel like shit or whatever, it's nice to always have one thing that you can kind of go back to and just sink a lot of time into and work on that makes you happy, right? Because nobody can ever take that away from you, no matter how fucked up life is or if you've made really bad decisions, because at some point in life you will make a bad decision. Because we all fuck up sometimes, right? Or if your relationships are fucked up with people that used to be friendly with you, or if you're having trouble with your parents, or if somebody dies that you used to rely on for support, it's nice to always be able to turn to one like static thing that will never change or ever be gone or ever get fucked up that you can always just sit at and sink a bunch of time into. I feel like it's a really good grounding thing, you know?
Oh, okay. So what do you think of that, Sean? Or, Sean?
I agree with it. I use it more not to just be happy, but just to kind of like forget for a while. You know, it's just like, you know, if it's video games, it's like you just zone out and do that. You know, reading was my kind of thing. You know, you have like a whole nother life that you can live through that.
Yeah. I think, I think it's a good statement too. I think you can also fall into a weird cycle where whatever you end up fixating, and I call it fixating on or whatever it is, you know, you might start getting competitive with that too, and you know, it could lead to some frustration too, I guess, in some ways. So, I mean, like
a little bit. Well,
a
that's why you
hobby is
gotta be
something
careful. You got to be careful. That's why I prefer to do it as like an art, or when I said video games, I don't necessarily mean something competitive. Although that's worked for people in the past. There have been athletes who, with troubled family life or whatever, would constantly, you know, like go and shoot hoops or do something athletic for a long time. But obviously, the thing that
like
you want to
Michael Jordan in Space Jam.
Yeah, sure. The things that you pick out, they should never, ever, 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 ever possibly be a source of frustration to you, you know? Like for me, music, like even if it's something that could be frustrating, like obviously in music, if you have to practice for a new piece, or you've got to learn a new piece or something, and there are frustrating passages, like if I needed to get away from shit because I was sick of whatever bullshit was going on, I wouldn't go and pick a piece that I can't play that's really frustrating. You know, it'd be something more to just goof off or have fun with. You know, same thing with video games. Like if video games happens to be your escape or whatever, I wouldn't go and play like fucking solo queue on League of Legends because that would probably just contribute to the whatever suicidal thoughts that you had before. It should be something that's always fun to you, or something that, you know, that's why I think like an art or a craft or some kind of hobby that's non-competitive is usually better in that regards. Not to say that you couldn't be competitive with whatever you do, but if you're turning to it, or if you're going to it because you don't feel good or whatever, it should be something that can only bring you happiness, you know?
Yeah, and some people some people derive happiness from from playing sports or playing competitive games or anything like that. So,
Sure.
yeah, I think overall I have to agree with that. So I kind of wanted to kind of talk about maybe how it might be analogous to this pro gaming in a way, because that we've seen some blogs recently, and Sean, like you wrote a blog like months ago, right? Really talking about just your state of mind, in terms of playing, and you had your hand issues and everything too. But we're starting to see more and more blogs from players just being very candid about how they feel.
The Muslim.
Yeah, the Muslim
strikes me as one of those.
We saw something from Snoot. We saw just other ones I can't think of right now. But they talk about just the life of a pro gamer, and a pro gamer does is not an easy life, right? So depression, this whole being depressed, does that happen a lot in pro gaming? We'll start with you, Sean. Sheth.
All right, can you say the question again, real quick?
Yeah, do you find this being depressed or even depression is a common thing in pro gaming?
Yeah, I do. I see it in a lot of players. It's both, right? You're always really happy, and we were kind of joking about it with just some friends recently who are programmers, right? Where once you lose a match, you almost like you need a suicide hotline or something if it's a big tournament match. It's pro players in general, me included, we don't really do really well. You fly for 8 hours, you spend a weekend, you lose right away. You're like, oh man, why am I even doing this? I've heard that a lot. I just need to quit or whatever. But a lot of people just, I think, are really addicted to it. And what would you do if you weren't doing that? And I understand it too. At least that's my experience. How about you guys?
Well, when you say addicted, you mean addicted to the lifestyle or just the competition, or what do you mean by that?
The drugs, the alcohol. No, I'm just kidding.
I've always thought it was more of just the game itself, kind of. They feel like there's someone with StarCraft. If
the fame.
If we were,
then
kind of the fame, just kind of everything rolled together. If you play StarCraft, you know who you are. It's part of your identity. Oh, I'm really good at StarCraft. That if I introduce myself to people, sometimes they'll be like, oh, I'm a pro gamer. I play games, or used to, right? If you take that whole identity away from you, I read books a lot. Maybe you lose a large part of who you are and who you were. So that's kind of what I was referring to.
Steven, you're gonna say something?
Oh no, I was just joking. Yeah, that sounds great. I know that people obviously I make my living streaming, so it's a little bit different for me to relate. I've heard people I remember talking to Naniwa, he would say winning is everything to him. He really doesn't give a fuck about the money part at all when it comes to programming. I don't even if they didn't give money, I don't think it would keep him from playing in tournaments. He really, 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 really likes winning tournaments. It's really important to him.
Yeah, and I think that's important for to have that mentality if you want to become the best player. But I think that I've always noticed that the players in general, they kind of, so some of them at least strive for this very ideal place, being this, just the perfect StarCraft 2 player, right? And they don't really have any kind of intermediate goals, I guess you could say, that would give you some type of, feelings of accomplishment. And I've always felt like that was an issue just because I've always liked to do things iteratively, right? So when I say iteratively, I just mean, or even progressively. So kind of reach this goal, kind of feel happy about it, then all right, start working for the next goal, and kind of making your way up that way. But I feel like a lot of players, they have this perfect being as a player that they're trying to strive for, and that's their number one goal, whether they win or not, right? Or whether they're winning money or not. Do you think that's a true statement, from what you guys have seen, or do you think no, it's just it's just all about winning the tournaments and whatever means right now, more so than just.
I think it varies for every person,
Okay. John, what do you think? General trend.
Yeah, it definitely varies. It's very fluid. A lot of times you're doing well, you're doing not well. It's very quick.
Yeah.
In between.
Okay. Well, anyways, with depression, anything else you guys want to add to it? Just, Steven, anything? Any last bit of?
Have you guys seen the comic by the person who writes Hyperbole and a Half?
No, Lincoln.
All right, 1 second. Correct. It's my favorite. Like, anything anyone's ever written on depression, it was my favorite by far.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The second part was what I liked.
Trying to get the link, and then I'll link it to you guys once I get it.
I will try and find it shortly. Alright.
Mm,
So I just, like,
meantime.
started from the second part. There we go.
All right, let's take a look at this. I'll link it in the chat too. Here you go, guys. Oh no, that's not gonna work.
Did you get the message or the link?
Yeah, I just
Alright.
okay, I just linked it to you guys. Check it out. And now I'm gonna go to it now too. Let's see what it is.
I've seen this before. This is pretty long.
Oh, okay. Well, I've never seen this. Pretty cool. Oh wow. Okay, there's a lot of goodness here. So, you know, one part of your blog, Stephen, you did mention something that was interesting, I thought, where it's like, you know, when people are feeling depressed or whatever, a lot of folks tend to advise spending more time with friends and family and doing that.
I think that's really bad.
When you actually think
terrible.
it's the opposite.
Yeah, I think that's really fucking terrible. I think it's toxic. People are usually really... I mean, I'm pretty cynical, jaded. Maybe I'm a really bad person to talk about this, but I think that talking to other people about your problems when you're depressed all the time is a really, 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 really bad system. Because what happens is there are people, and I knew so many of these girls in high school. I say girls, I'm sure guys did it too, but it's really easy to tell in high school girls who would get depressed or fucked up, and all they would ever do is they would have this huge fucking circle jerk group of friends that would always tell them that everything they're doing is good, everything is fine, blah, 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 blah. And two things result from that. One, you learn that nothing that you ever do is wrong because you can always find somebody who will tell you that what you're doing is right, which is a bad attitude to have always, right? And two is you never learn how to be confident in the face of adversity, right? That's probably the most important skill that I think I've ever developed in my entire life, is that I'm very confident of myself, even if there are other people who are talking down to me, right? When you talk, very, 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 very few people have high actual self-esteem or self-confidence, right? Having self-esteem or self-confidence doesn't count for shit if you're only high in spirits when everybody's behind you, you know? The person who actually has high self-esteem or high self-confidence is the person who feels good about themselves when other people are saying, you're a fucking idiot, you're stupid, you're retarded, you know? That's the person that has actually developed the skills necessary to feel good about themselves, regardless of what other people around them are saying. And as long as you're constantly surrounded by people that are constantly feeding you positive affirmation, you never really learn, in my opinion, I don't think you ever really learn to develop that skill on your own as you grow up, you know? And like I said, like I knew those girls in high school, and I know some of them in college now, and I see how fucked up they are as a result of it, where they never really learned, like anytime somebody would make fun of them or call them fat or said that their project was stupid in class or gossiped about them, the first instinct would always be to run back to a group of friends, to cry about it and tell them what happened, and then all of those friends would constantly feed that positive feedback, and you get into this like super addictive system where anytime something bad happens in life, you just run back to that group and you just shower yourself in praise and constant feedback, even if you are fucking up or even if you are being really stupid. Because there are times where you do things and you need to be called out on it. Somebody needs to call you a fucking idiot, or somebody needs to say, hey, you're being really fucking stupid right now. But it becomes impossible to differentiate when people are just talking shit to be an asshole or when they're actually giving you real advice you need to listen to, because your default reaction to everything is to just run back to a group of friends and circle jerk about how awesome you are, you know?
Well,
Sorry.
I mean, I think generalizing it to, you know, to running back to your friends or your family, and they're just going to be showering you with positive reinforcement, that kind of thing. That's not necessarily always the case, right? Yeah, you mentioned about being able to talk to people. I think that's what a lot of people do with therapy, right? I mean, they go to a therapist and they talk, right?
Yeah, but that's different. A therapist knows what he has to tell you. A therapist is trained, and they know what they have to tell you. Friends are oftentimes, this sounds really bad to say, but friends are usually some of the worst people to talk to when you have problems, because they don't actually tell you what you need to hear. They tell you what you want to hear, and that's what they think makes them a really good friend. Like, oh, you know, my friend feels really bad right now, like I need to tell him, like, I really need to tell him, you know, things to make him feel better, and, you know, to make him, I need to tell him what he wants to hear, not what they might actually need to hear, you know? Which is sad, because it's really hard in life to find that good friend, because a good friend will tell you, like, hey, like, it's alright, man, there's nothing you can do, blah, blah, blah. But a great friend will tell you, like, hey, like, it sucks that happened, but man, you fucked up, and I hope you don't do that again, because, I mean, like, obviously, like, damn, like, you know, it's really hard to find people that can give you really good, accurate feedback, you know, as opposed to people that will just tell you things to make you feel better about yourself.
Yeah, Sean, what do you think?
For what Steven's talking about, like, it's probably good, you know, for stuff that's, like, you know, if they actually made a mistake, great. But, like, if their, like, mom dies, or, you know, if they're hit by a car, or they have some, like, disease, then I think it changes. But I mean, I'm sure that's
Well, yeah, obviously, you're not...
you're not even talking about that.
Everything I say is within reason. Yeah. Like, I would never say, like, man, your kid is an idiot for playing in traffic. Like, fuck, you got killed because you're a terrible parent. Like, obviously, I'm not advocating you to say that or something, but...
I don't know. Okay.
It was really sad seeing people in high school do the same stupid fucking shit over and over and over and over again. And instead of having their friends just say, dude, wake the fuck up and grow up and stop being a fucking idiot, every time they would do it, they'd run back to the group of friends and be like, oh no, it's okay, it's not your fault that guy was a jerk, or it's not your fault that they blah, blah, it's not your fault, it's not your fault, it's not your fault. You know, like this complete and total abdication of personal responsibility, you know? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, like, I agree with that. Like, I got nothing, like, to counter that point. It makes sense, because you got to kind of learn your mistakes, right? Like, constructive criticism is one of the best things ever, unless it's from Reddit, and then it's amazing. Yeah, so just find friends. Well, like, instead of...
It'd be like the difference between me being on Skype with, like, a Circle Jerk friend, or me being on Skype with, like, Desro, right? Where, like, if I play, I could probably find another Zerg friend, or, like, a subscriber or something, and we could talk on Skype while I'm playing StarCraft 2, and every time I'd lose versus Protoss, he could be like, man, dude, fucking, that's so gay, Protoss is so fucking gay, like, force fields are so down, blah, 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 and it'd be really easy to fall into that Circle Jerk trap.
Just
but with
Desro, right?
Sure, yeah, sure. But with Desro, it's more like, instead of just saying like, oh, Steven, you played so well and fucking Protoss is so gay, instead it's more like, well, hey, why don't you look and see what you could have did differently, or look and see how you could have played it differently, or you can't
Why'd
just
you fuck up so hard?
Yeah, sure. Like, you know, like, your drone is really low, like, you could have held that even if...
Desbro, the ultimate coach, man.
I just try and find friends who will just, like, do stuff with me, instead of, like, complaining about anything. Like, we'll just go do something to kind of build spirits up.
How common are these, like, friends actually in the pro gaming community? Like, do you actually have pro gamers that are like these type of friends, or no?
Who?
Either. Sean, you. How about you? Do you have, like, really, really good pro gaming friends?
There's a small, very, very small amount, but yeah, like, very, very small, like, maybe 2 or 3 that are, like, really good.
Okay. Steven? I don't think Steven has... Yeah,
what, friends?
Yeah, no, not friends.
What were you saying?
Like,
where are you going with that?
Really good friends. Like, you know, like these friends that would be, like, completely candid with you, right?
That are pro gamers, like, that are from gaming.
Actually, I get everything because I have so many fans, which is amazing. I've got everything from emails that suck my dick all the time to people telling me that I should commit suicide. So I've gotten all levels of feedback.
See, that's the thing. Like, how do you filter those? I mean, that's...
You have to be smart. I'm really fucking smart, dude. I'm sorry. No, that was very I sound really arrogant when I say it, but I am really good. That's like if I had, like, a superpower, or could, like, pick out, like, something that I'm really good at that I can excel at. I'm really good at picking out things that people say and figuring out, like, what's good or what's bad or whatnot. That's something that I'm really good at. I do consider myself to be really good at it. And I have gotten a lot of emails from different people, and I know that some of it is stupid, but I have gotten a lot of really good feedback from different people saying different things that has influenced you know, the way that I've changed my thoughts on different things. So I mean, I don't know how you develop the ability to not be a fucking idiot. I wish I knew how to, because obviously a lot of people are lacking that. And if I ever figure it out one day, I'll become a teacher and I'll fucking go travel the world and show everybody. But I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. All right.
A lot of people don't. Sorry. Never mind. Fuck, dude. I hate that eSports bubble, or the people who have like made it and they're like, fuck everything else.
What? What do you mean? Like Like the
Fuck, I don't want to turn this into a bashing session. Every time I
Okay.
think of things like this, I think of like that real talk video that Tasteless did, where Tasteless was like, I don't listen to anybody about any criticism ever because everybody's a fucking idiot all the time and everybody's stupid or whatever. Like people that. So I kind of wonder when you get into systems like that. I wonder if those people actually have good people that can point out and criticize them well, or if they're just like it's a big circle jerk with all their friends, so they talk about how wrong everybody is about everything. You know?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but you know, sometimes it's not a matter of who's around you as much as just you yourself, right? If you have like this immense ego that you won't listen to anybody anyways, right? That could be an issue too, right?
A little bit, yeah. You shouldn't. You can't have a huge ego. You'll get fucked doing this stuff, I think. Or maybe not. Maybe people develop huge egos. I don't know.